I've got quite the story to share with you all, and no, it's not of Trevor's vasectomy.
Whoa! Dude, I love gay people now!
No, we're a good guy. We're trying to save the kids. Look, we're saving you! Saving!
Okay, so I was born in... currently live in Mount...
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the chillest series on Goobers and Screens, Goobers and Screens Book Club. Today, Kyle and I, we have a very special series, and by very special, I mean another series that isn't Black Clover. It is Hunter x Hunter, also known as Hunter x Hunter. Kyle, you can go ahead and give some of your background with the series.
Yeah, so a few years ago, a friend recommended me to watch the show, and when I first got into it, wasn't too invested, but as time went on, after catching up to where the anime is, I haven't read the manga. Brandon and I will after he gets to the point where the anime ends off. I put it up there as like one of my top 5. I think it is a phenomenal series, and as we get into later parts of the story or as the series, I'm just genuinely looking forward to what Brandon has to say about them. I've seen the anime, and the manga shouldn't be too much different. I know about everything, so it's just going to be me bringing what I know to the table, and Brandon's new experiences being brought to the table as well. So
yeah, we've done stuff like this before. It was back this past December. I guess I was just bored, and I had the motivation to read JoJo, and I caught up. I had read through part 6, but I caught up to parts 7 and 8, and throughout that I read them pretty fast. But Kyle and I talked about it. It was fun, and then I just randomly decided I was going to read One Piece and completely catch up there. And so I did, and that's kind of what really started us, where we would just call every couple days and talk about what I had read up to that point.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, that wasn't like the start of book club was Chainsaw Man. But that's kind of like what did it. So we've done something like this before where Kyle already knows stuff and I'm reading it for the first time. So it'll be a little bit different than Black Clover. For a couple reasons. One, because Black Clover we were just recapping and then talking about the final arc. But here, like I know absolutely nothing about Hunter x Hunter. I know the power system is called Nin or something. And I know there is an arc called the Chimera Ant arc that is apparently pretty good. And so other than that, I have no prior knowledge of the series, and I have been enjoying it so far.
So here's what I want to add. Funny enough, you did that with JoJo, One Piece, and Hunter x Hunter. Those 3 are like probably my favorite animes and like / manga. I've looked at some of the manga of One Piece. You are right about it being called Nen, and we'll get to that Chimera Ants, but for the people who know about anime but don't really know much about Hunter x Hunter, the Chimera Ants is hailed as one of, if not debatably, the best shonen arcs to exist, and I cannot wait to see what Brandon has to say about it. But
I've been looking forward to it, and we are going. So this book club is going to be arc by arc, and so then there's like the whatever Killua's family is. There's like the little mini arc. There's like 5 chapters that some people consider an arc. We're not going to consider it an arc. So there's going to be. I think that leaves us with 8 episodes of this. So without further ado, let's get into it. I think that's enough prefacing.
Yeah, let's get into the first arc of Hunter x Hunter, the Hunter exam arc. I think it's the 287th Hunter exam.
That sounds 280, maybe 200. No, it's 287th. That's right, because they said that Gon's father was the 267th. Yeah. So I started off. I read this, and I guess I was supposed to read these chapters first. They were first where I read it. Was Kurapika's backstory. And no apologies in advance for any of the way we pronounce the names. They're objectively correct. I enjoyed it. It starts off relatively, it's a shonen. I can tell that it's an older shonen. I was like, okay, it's cool enough. I like it. And then we get to the ending where his entire clan is killed, and it's just like, okay, I guess. And I was like, so that was my first little thing where it's like coming off of Black Clover, which I mean, it's been a second since we finished Black Clover. I've read some series since then, but still, to have a series willing to do that, I'm like, okay, it has promise, right?
Yeah, willing
I
to.
enjoyed it.
Like, as we said with Black Clover, it's a series where it doesn't need to kill a lot of characters to make it interesting, but in the opposite spectrum, or the opposite end of this, Hunter x Hunter having, I didn't know this from the manga, like showing his backstory, but having a strong start like that, showing how one of the characters is just fueled by revenge, it's interesting for an older shonen to start with that.
And I was curious, where is that in the anime? Where does that happen in the anime?
Well,
is it spoilers to say?
I'm not going to say anything about what happens, but do you know who it is that attacks his clan? Did the name?
I know. I can't. It's like the Black Spider or something. I can't remember.
The Phantom Trope.
Phantom Trope. Yeah, whatever. There was the one guy. We'll get to him where he was like the fake member. Yeah.
That. But for all that's shown, they show it or mention it about as much as what I read that they do in the manga, where Kurapika will bring it up throughout bits and pieces. Where do they explain why they were attacked?
Well, the reasoning that I know now, I don't know if it's like the full reasoning or not, is that what you call it? It's for their eyes. Like their eyes whenever they're like get like really, they turn red whenever they feel like emotions and stuff. Whenever they're like really emotional, they turn like a really cool shade of red that people like. So they butchered them in front of each other in order to get those red eyes.
They're a rare clan, and their eyes possess unique properties. So that's why the Phantom Trope was. I mean, I'm pretty sure they were hired to go do that and then bring the eyes to whoever the collector was.
Mm-hmm. And I will say this also presented something that I did want to touch on as a thing that I'm going to be watching very closely. And it's like, okay, I'm going to keep an eye on it to see how it goes. And that is the world building of a fantasy world, but like with modern elements, right? So like whenever Kurapika and his friend go shopping, they're like, oh, we need to get like toilet paper and stuff like that. And later on, you have like the cellular device. You have cell phones and you have like technology and stuff like that. And I mean, it obviously it can be done well, and I hope Hunter x Hunter does it well. But I have seen it been done very, very poorly in the past, and so whenever stuff like that is brought up, I always have to keep a close eye on it because it is difficult to do well. So like I said, I definitely think Hunter x Hunter has the ability to like do it well. It's just I'm keeping an eye on it.
It's reflective. That's how I'll describe it. It's very reflective of the time in which it was written.
Yeah.
It's personally, and I'm not trying to be biased here, I think the inclusion of modern technologies works to its advantage at some points. There's an arc later on where it's heavily centered around something like that. I won't spoil it, but I can't say too much on that because it'd be spoiler reasons, but I want to say I don't think it's something you have to worry about because even within the Hunter exam arc, I think its modern technologies worked well enough to its advantages. Like they have a blimp.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it's kind of leaning more into the modern setting as opposed to the fantasy setting, and that's definitely how you do it well. is by running it like that. And so like I said, I have hope it's going to be done well, but I am going to be keeping an eye on it because I read that and I was like, okay, it's a little shaky here, but I really did enjoy this little beginning. It was just 2 chapters, I think.
Yeah, and then I'm guessing it starts off with Gon on, I think, Whale Island.
Yes, I believe it's Whale Island. I wrote here specifically in my notes, Gon, his aunt, and daddy. So Gon has been apparently raised by his aunt, who tells him that his parents are dead. But he meets some dude named, what's his name? It starts with a K. I can never remember it.
Starts with what?
A K. Is it Kite?
Yeah, Kite.
Kite.
Yeah. So this backstory is shown later, but the backstory is Gon almost gets attacked by a bear or sorts. I think it's
essentially a bear.
And Kite comes in and it's just like, Gon, you idiot, why are you here? Like, it's a flashback when Gon was a kid, and Gon's being like just scolded by Kite, like, you don't do this, you idiot, this is a bad idea. And then Kite tells him, like, your father is alive and is a hunter, and you should go look for him.
Ex-hunter, like the title
of
the series.
Oh, that was what I was going to say. What are your thoughts on Gon's motivations? Because Gon as a main character, like, there'll be some more to talk about with what happens, but at least from the start, Gon's motivation isn't to become the best of something or the strongest in the world. His motivation is he's setting out on a journey to go find his father.
I kind of talked to you a little bit about that. I think I just read chapter 2 or something. I was at work, so we weren't really talking. And we were waiting for this. We didn't really talk in depth about it. But at this point in the story, after chapter 2, chapter 1 is the whole setup. Chapter 2 is whenever they're on the boat, yada yada yada. But Gon, and this still stands true. But speaking specifically about this part of the story, my thoughts on it. It's an extremely solid start. I think Gon is an extremely solid protagonist with extremely solid motivation. Like I said, I told you, I think, like, at this point in series is Luffy has been my favorite protagonist. But also, I mean, like you said, it's just it's so different. It's not really a fair comparison. And I can definitely appreciate, and again, this is somewhat because of its age, but like not in a bad way, is that the motivation, quote unquote unique in that it's not, I'm going to become Hokage, or I'm going to become the Wizard King, or you can't say I'm going to become the Pirate King is cliche, because that started the whole trope. But all that, no, I really, it's simple, it works, and it leaves a lot to be built off of. Especially after reading this first arc. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of Gon and learning more about him and seeing more about him. But we'll get into more on what Gon does later. But yeah, it's an extremely solid start.
Yeah, but here's the thing also about Gon. He's 12. he's compared to other shonen protagonists, he's very young.
Like, I know that's something that it's a young cast, and that's very interesting.
Yeah, the others are, like, most other shonen protagonists are like 16 to 18 range. They're older teens. They're hitting the demographic. Gon is very young.
Asta and being 15, even that I was like, man, that's really young.
Yeah, so having Gon be much younger is, I'm gonna say it'll make for interesting discussion later, because some of what happens with Gon you would probably feel different about if it were someone like older in his place, like 6 or 7 years older.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just this first chapter is, and it's an extremely solid start. I mean, I can't read the first chapter and be like, oh my god, it's the best series I've ever read. But I know. No, it's super solid, and that, I mean, it's good to be solid. I mean, it's in terms of first chapters, I mean, I enjoyed it more than Black Clover.
Oh yeah, obviously Clover's was a bit slow. But what I'm saying is, it's weird thinking, like, to say, an older teenager of whoever the guy is caught the big fish and is now setting out, versus saying a child did it. Like, you can substitute Gon for just saying, like, a child.
Yeah.
Will drastically change how you view things later on. But after he catches the fish and sets out, because that was the promise that was made between him and his aunt, that if he could do it, he's gonna leave, and he ends up leaving and gets to meet up with Kurapika and Leorio.
Yeah, so I mean, the entire little ship thing there, I enjoyed it. It's fun. Just I knew, obviously, Kurapika, I read the first 2 chapters. Leorio, I mean, like, I knew the name, and like I knew he existed, because there's like the one picture of him where he's making like the Saul Goodman face, just staring at the camera, that Kyle likes to send.
There's no reason for that picture to be as funny as it is.
It is pretty. It's the Saul Goodman face, dude. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's a good introduction. One thing that I've learned early on with Hunter x Hunter is, and not to say it's like, not to a high degree, but it does a lot of subverting expectations or catching you off guard a lot in what happens. Because like when they're talking in the room, people are getting sick on the ship, and the captain, like they're the last three people who aren't seasick, who are like strong. Captain asks them, "Okay, why did you guys become hunters?" And Gon's like, "I become a hunter because I want to go find my dad." And the other two are like, "We're not going to answer." And the guy's like, "Okay, you're out." And like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm a proctor. I judge who goes further, and I don't want you two to go further." Like, it just happens out of nowhere, and it catches you very off guard.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed all the twists and turns of like the exams and stuff. I tell you what it reminded me of. It reminded me of Classroom of the Elite. I know you haven't seen that series, but it is a lot of that kind of stuff. I won't get into it, but it tickled my brain like that. It reminded me. I was like, yo, dude, that's like Ayano Koji doing stuff. That's crazy. That's wacky.
The writing feels a lot more competent. I'm not going to say smarter because that's a very simplified way of saying it, but it feels a lot more competently written than a lot of other shonen, where it does a good job. What shonen should do is like a page turner, where there's a lot of unexpected twists at every turn, and not everything is as it seems. And presenting that idea early on makes the rest of the Hunter exam pretty tense for an exam arc. I'd say it's one of the better quote unquote exam arcs of a shonen.
Yeah, no, definitely, especially with what they're able to do with it. And I'll say one more thing before we move on entirely from the boat. I wanted to mention is whenever they're like get on and they're like, yeah, there's only like 1 in 100,000 that apply and actually make it to be a hunter. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, we have a scale in here. I was like, this is gonna be awful. I was like, I think it's gonna stumble over. A lot of series will throw stuff out like that, and then be like, I haven't seen My Hero, but it's like My Hero being like only the useful quirks get stuff, and then there's like a dude who can turn into grapes or something. And it's like, how is that more useful than other stuff?
Don't get me started. If we ever did My Hero, I don't think we did.
I am not reading My Hero, Kyle. Sorry.
Maybe. We could just have a book club where I just vent to you about everything I hate with mine. But and here's the thing here, within Hunter x Hunter, I think that stands pretty true with.
Yeah, no. What I was going to say before I got off on my little My Hero thing, like they executed it very well. We're like the way they presented it, it's like, yeah, I believe that's a 1 in 100,000 thing.
So it was 1 in 100,000.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Yeah, because
then 10,000 to 100,000. Yeah, there was a lot to it. Like even early on, after they get off the boat, the Oreo was just about to be out of the contest because he was going to go the wrong way.
Yeah, he was waiting for the bus, and it never came. And and again, it's so cool to see like the tests like that, and to be like, okay, so like these hunter guys are legit.
Yeah, so if you see someone with the title of Hunter, they've gone through the ringer on that. They have shown their worth. Unlike, I guess, something like Black Clover or Jujutsu Kaisen or even My Hero, where it's like you can become like a knight or a hero, but that really doesn't mean much when the process lets so many people through. Like the Hunter exam weeds out so many people.
Yeah, and it's just it's done very well. So yeah, so they get to the town. And they're chilling. The Oreo almost does, and I wanted to touch on this where the captain, he tells Gon like, you want to check up on that tree, and we like see a little. I don't know if this was in the anime, but in the manga we see like a silhouette of a person, and the captain like thought to himself like, don't worry, I'm going to call Gon's father Jin, because that is what the translation I am reading is using. That's what I'm used to. He is Jin. I don't care. I'll probably change my mind whenever
I mean, that's. We know who we're talking about. Yeah, so is
it Ging? Is that how you Ging?
I'm just gonna call him Jing. That's it.
I'll call him Jing then. And he's like, don't worry, Jing. You've got a fine kid there. So it's like, is Jing watching over Gon? I mean, I don't know. It's a neat little mystery.
Okay. Then you say it's a mystery. I'm not going to confirm or deny anything.
Yeah, no, I don't want confirmation or denial there. I think it's a neat little thing.
Yeah, so then,
is that Jing or is that someone else? It could have. It's just it was weird because there was the guy that listened to the boatsman tell Gon like to go up there, and then he followed them up there. And then with the whole who would you save thing. So like it could have been him, but like the way it was paneled seemed to imply that it was Ching.
Shit, you're right. That was the next thing, right? Where they have the test where the woman asked them, like, who would you save?
Yeah, Inyaba, dude. Inyaba, it's literally just the Inyaba the Hag fight. The Inya the Hag fight from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, Stardust Crusaders.
And one thing I liked, at least in the anime, I just remember very fondly was, like, whenever Gon figured it out, Gon and Kurapika's like, you two shut up, let this guy solve it. Like, you two figured it out. This asshat needs to, like, answer for me. Calling out Oreo on the spot.
Yeah.
not verbatim what she said, but just like when Gon and Kurapika figured it out, just how quickly she's like, no, don't say the answer. He has to say it, and then they're like, oh God, Oreo. And then, accidentally he solved it, but he's.
But that's Oreo for you, man. I will say throughout all of this, my favorite character so far is probably Oreo. Maybe Kurapika, because I always enjoy whenever Kurapika's on screen.
He's fun.
There's all the main four are so much fun. Gon, Killua, Kurapika, and Oreo. They're so much fun. Even Clussy guy, and we'll get to Clussy guy.
You know why Oreo is such a good character?
The sideburns.
No, he's a good character because I kind of see him as a normal person in these situations. Like he's the most grounded in at least our reality, at least to me, where he's like a normal person doing this stuff, where it's like he's quick to emotion. He's like, I can't solve this. Like, just come on, like, and just very like rash. I feel like a lot of people are like that. So having a side character like that balanced out with the others who are more traditional, quick problem-solving shonen characters, I think it's a nice balance.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, anytime he's on screen, he says while reading the manga. He is an enjoyable presence. Yeah,
anytime he pops up, he makes the scene a lot better.
And I also like the way, we've talked about how good the test is, but that question test I really enjoyed. I was like, that's cool that like the answer is to not answer, because it's like, yeah, it is a serious decision. It's not something like I really liked that. I thought that was solid, and especially Gon, who's like, not the most traditionally smart person. For him to figure that out, it's again just more like, okay, this guy's a natural born hunter.
Yeah. Same with same it could be said for like Kurapika, because he solve it at some point too, like after Gon.
Well, they both found out that like the answer is to say nothing. Well, Gon actually never discovered that. He was still thinking.
No, I thought it was either him or Kurapika. I remember in the anime, one of them they had the wide eye, like, I just solved it, like kind of like an aha moment. She's like, no, you're not allowed.
That was Kurapika that had that, but like afterwards, Gon was like, I'm just still thinking. And Gon was the one that was like, it's a serious choice. They're like, why are you still thinking about it? He's like, because one day we might have to make that choice. And the lady who was doing the test was like, this kid figured it out. That's pretty sharp of him.
You're right about that, yeah. And again, that implies a lot of scary things for Gon, because the thing is, they were like, Kurapika figured out, did not say anything. Oreo went with his gut. Gon was thinking about the decision. He never. It wasn't like he was gonna stay quiet. He was gonna come up with an answer.
Yeah, but it's just like he said, it's an important decision, and I really appreciated how that was handled. It's the little things that show the quality of the writing, and it's the little things that really shine through for Hunter x Hunter for me.
For the people who know Hunter x Hunter, I'm explaining this stuff now.
Yeah, so next we had them going. They needed to find a navigator.
Yeah, in like the woods, like the kind of sort of wolf people. I know you might
people. Cade, are you here? Are you listening? You listening in? Can we bring you on real quick, Cade?
I sure am.
All right, cool. So basically, in Hunter x Hunter, there are some wolf people. Are there A, 2 of them, B, 4 of them, or C, 1 of them is a virgin?
I'm gonna say final answer 4.
4? No, I only gave you 3 answer choices, silly.
Yeah, I know, for 4 of them.
That was answer choice 2.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm going to go with 4 of them.
Oh, okay.
That's incorrect, ain't it? It was the virgin one, wasn't it?
Congrats, you got it correct. There are 4 of them. I'm
going to mute myself now.
2 of them are children.
Yeah, I'm going to mute myself now.
Yeah, that's probably for the best.
And then they, after that, I don't want to explain too much of it. It was like they can shapeshift or like take on
Yeah,
forms.
it was cool. Again, just it's the little things. Gon noticing that they were two different people, and
Yes.
Kurapika noticing the markings and being like, I enjoyed how the three of them each passed in their own way. Where Kurapika noticed the markings through, so that's like he's like the knowledge one, right? He's like the smart one, and so that's how he passed. Gon noticed because he's like you're not the same. He's like, who are you? He's like, who's this chick?
Like instinct.
And so I appreciated that, how it was like Gon's like just gut feeling, whatever. I appreciate how Leorio passed, not because he figured it out, he didn't figure it out, but because of his compassion, and that's the first time we learned that he's a doctor, I think.
Yeah, and then we learn later that he wants to become a hunter because he wants to save people for free, which that's very touching.
Yeah, no, it's extremely admirable, and this is kind of the first. We at this point we just think he's in it for the money. But no, I mean, like I said, it's the little things, and I really appreciated how each of the characters passed in their own little way, and they get shown to the ramen shop, and they're like, it's 1 in 10,000 to get here. I was like, yeah, no, that feels right. That feels right.
They then they go down, and then they start like what I would say the true part of the exam.
The true exam.
This is where the exam actually begins, and we've already seen how many people have been taken out before the exam itself started. This was just the getting to the exam, and all these people were disqualified and killed.
And I think
some of them. Did anyone die getting that point, or was it just like people were sick on the boat who couldn't even make their way up there?
Probably people die. We don't see anyone specifically die at this point.
Yeah, but point being,
we don't see anyone die until the swamp after the tunnel.
And then we get an introduction to some namestay characters, or name. What is the term? Namestay.
Mainstay characters.
Yeah, we get to see Killua, Hisoka,
the white-haired twink, Clussy guy,
Clussy.
Hanzo from Overwatch, and Cactus Jack, the white-haired twink's brother. We'll find out later.
Yeah. There's a lot of other characters that are important in this arc, but not really much so.
There's
later.
Tompa, the newbie crusher Tompa, I think his name is. He's
also
fairly important throughout the arc.
Yeah, he is, especially during the pillar stuff. But we'll get to that.
We'll get to the pillar. Yeah, no, it's just the classic introducing things to him. I knew Killua. It took me a long time to get that name down because Kyle's dog name is Kahlua. And
very
so
similar.
I kept wanting to call him Kahlua. It's Killua. It's Killua.
Yeah.
I think I'm fairly certain I've got that. It took me a second to get going too. I want to say gone, but it's going.
What are your thoughts on Killua?
His introduction or him as a character, just throughout this entire part so far.
I guess his introduction, and we'll talk about him as a character later because that's more.
I thought his introduction was extremely solid. He loves laxatives. What can I say? It's his favorite drink.
He drinks the laxative.
You can tell from his introduction that there's something more going on there, and it's just mysterious. I think I don't know if he stands out among the other recipients or the other rookies because of how the writing, or just because okay, I know this guy is gonna be Gon's best friend or something.
Yeah. Also, one thing I do want to bring up, I like how it's I'm more so of a fan of the deuteragonist being friends with the protagonist as opposed to being a rival. I'm not a huge fan, especially after our last one. I'm not a huge fan of the rival deuteragonist. I like it when and there's a lot of moments later where it's they're both dumb little kids who just are just goofballs. They're just a couple of goofballs, and it's just nice seeing them have fun. Bit. just a little murderous goofball here and there.
Just a tiny bit of murder. It's fine. He's a little.
I call him balls, but it's he's literally a murderer, which we'll touch on later. But yeah.
So it's a solid introduction to these characters.
Ooh. And then the Clussy guy, Hisoka.
Yes, Hisoka.
Hisoka is a, no pun intended, wild card.
I was gonna say, I assume he shows up a lot throughout the series, maybe.
Hisoka is quite the character.
I was gonna say because I have seen Hisoka before, and so for me who has never experienced anything Hunter x Hunter and only knew that the main character was some kid with spiky green hair and his friend the white-haired twink. That's all I knew about Hunter x Hunter. And for me to like recognize Hisoka, like I knew he was gonna do some crazy stuff, and he's already done some crazy stuff.
Like his introduction, he literally cuts off a dude's arm or hand because he just into him.
And that's base. And honestly, I appreciate it, dog. You got to keep that mentality, that energy.
Yeah. And then the first part of it begins where it's just some dude walking and then walking.
He's running.
Oh, running? I thought he was just walking.
No, they ran for like 100 kilometers. And we got our first elimination, which is the fat guy.
Hold on. I thought it was him just walking, but so fast where they had to run to keep up. At least in the anime.
I don't know. Yeah, the anime, the feel I got from it from the manga was that he was running. I could be completely wrong with. I mean, I don't know.
Regardless, they had to run a very long distance, and it was an endurance test to see, because once again, hunters are they're more likely going to be in physical combat. So this part of the test, the first part was to see like who has the stamina to survive as a hunter, who has the stamina. And this weeded out, like, as you said, like the first guy who dropped out was like a fat person. A lot of the people who dropped out and just like fell over, they just didn't have the stamina to keep up. And Killua had his skateboard. That was funny.
Well, he was pretty based. I like Killua. I like the little guy. He's a little cutie.
They got mad at him, and then the guy's like, "Who cares? He brought it with him. He can use it." And then he's like, "No, I'll just walk." And he's like, "Bitch, shit, I can walk with you." And he walk.
And then they got the stairs. They walk up, and they get to the swamp. And the swamp's interesting. I can't remember too many things that happen specifically in the swamp, other than
fog happens, and then Hisoka. Do you want to say it, Brandon? Do you want to explain?
Oh my gosh! So I was reading this at work, right? And I'm reading it. I'm like, dude, I was like, and Hisoka, he starts killing the people. He's like, I'm going to test you guys, right? And it's like, okay. And he's killing people left and right. And I'm like, I'm going to text Kyle something funny. I'm going to say, this Clussy guy just beasted on them. Funny Clussy guy. It's funny. It's a relevant joke at the time of recording. Trust us.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether it was autocorrect or God made me text, this Clussy guy just breasted on them. So now anytime Hisoka does anything, we describe it as the Clussy guy breasting on them.
Oh, and immediately after he sent that, he saw me typing in Snapchat.
Yeah, I sent it and I reread my message and I was like, no, Kyle, wait, I didn't mean it. And then Kyle texts back like, absolutely amazing, Brandon. And I'm just like, Kyle, no, please. And then I see a notification pop down from the top of my screen. It says Kyle is typing in the Goobers Snapchat group chat. And I was like, oh no.
I had
Kyle.
I had to share the word of God on that one.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, it was solid. That's the first kind of big fight we get in the series, really.
And here's the thing.
I enjoyed it.
This is shown early on, so there's not really spoilers. Hisoka's whole motivation, not whole motivation, but one of his motivating factors is he likes fighting strong people, and he also likes people with potential. When he fought them in the swamp and he let them go, he could have killed them then and there, but it was the fact that it seemed like they have the potential later on, and I'm going to let them live so I can, so later on I can see where their potential goes. That's not a huge spoiler. That's just shown early on. That's what Hisoka does.
Yeah, and I mean, it was solid. Like, I can't remember too many other things that happened. The whole thing with the swamp is like there's traps and misdirections and stuff. It's just, I mean, it's cool. It's solid. After that, though, we get to the cooking arc.
I wasn't a huge fan of that one. That one, they not needed, but I see the author writing that as just a reason to have Nedero brought in. And
the old guy?
Yeah, Chairman Nedero.
Oh, okay, I can't remember his name.
the guy
the old guy.
I saw this in the manga, that panel that Brandon showed me, but he's literally talking and he just thinks like, nice tits, and then he just goes home.
Yeah, you get the big guy and the hot chick there. It was a cool enough arc. Like I said, like the swamp. It was cool enough. I will say it was interesting to see the different facets of hunters.
Yeah,
right?
like
to be like, okay, well, a hunter isn't just this, or a hunter isn't just this. So it's a question of what exactly is a hunter, what makes a hunter. I feel like that's what a lot of this whole test thing explores. I really enjoyed it, honestly.
Yeah, and And while the idea with it was nifty, I wasn't a huge fan of just being like, oh, you're all disqualified. Then it was
Yeah.
like, now qualified.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, come on.
Again, it's fine. They needed a reason to show that not all hunters are good people running the test, and also for the fact that they just needed a reason for Nedero to show it, which I'm completely fine with because Nedero's a good character. And then we get to them going on the blimp and flying, and a couple things happen. The twink kills some people. It's pretty interesting.
They're fighting over the trying to get the old man ball. They love his balls. And they're trying to get it.
No.
What's so incorrect about that, Kyle? Please talk about what's so incorrect about that while I mute the Discord channel.
Yeah, good. It's one of those where the wording is completely off, but what they're doing is they're just trying to play a game with Nedero. He's keeping like a toy ball away from them, and they're trying to get it. And it's one of those archetypes where it introduces the old man who's a lot more powerful than he looks.
Yeah, like Master Roshi or
Yeah, and oh yeah, let's not talk about
Let's not talk about but yeah, no, I mean, it was fun. Fun to see Gon and Killua, go at it a little bit.
But Nedero is an interesting character, and one thing to attest to his strength is when they're playing the game. It's funny how it's not like we see it mostly through Gon's perspective, at least from what I can remember. It's Nedero thinking like, oh crap, this kid's literally about to break his skull if he headbutts my chest. How do I stop him from doing that? Like that was, I don't know if that was in the manga. That's a scene I just remember that so vividly from the anime. Where it's like, oh crap, I can't let this kid do it or else he's literally going to die. How do I stop him?
That was in the manga.
Yeah, and that was just a interesting
Killua
scene.
leaves and he's like, oh, I could have killed him, and he just randomly kills two people. And I was like, the twink. I texted Kyle. I was eating dinner at non-disclosed restaurant because I don't know what's location specific or not. And I said the twink is evil. Is the twink do be evil? Maybe, who knows? Maybe I'll find out in the little 5-chapter arc.
So you know what's funny? There are two moments that are coming up each in like the next two arcs that I just want to touch on. One of them is what started changing my mind from the fact that Hunter x Hunter was just it was pretty good
series.
Yeah, and then another moment that happens in the next arc went from a really solid series like this has a lot of potential. So after the blimp lands, they go to these different pillars, and I forget all the challenges, but they have to a certain amount of people have to descend from the pillar before the others, correct?
It's just you have, I think it was 75 hours.
Yeah, you have
I don't know how it was in the end, but I'm pretty sure in the manga it was one pillar. You have 75 hours to get to the bottom of it. And at this point, there's 40 people left. There's 40 contestants left.
Of 5, right? Like you're in teams of 5.
That was not it. It was just you have to go down, and I don't know how it was presented in the anime. There's a dude who tried to climb down the side and he got like eaten by vultures. And then they find out that like on the roof there's like tiles and stuff, and you like go down and it's like different paths. And so Gon, Killua, Kurapika, and Oreo find like 4 close to each other and like, well, good luck. And they go down and they're actually in the same room.
Yeah.
And it's the majority thing. And then Tompa falls in to be the 5th person. And it's like your wristwatches, you can press either circle or X to make a decision, in whatever the majority chooses, you do. It's like boards and stuff.
Yeah, you're reminding me now. And then at some point they come across a big room under like a pit, and it's them 5 versus a group of 5 that's in their path.
Yeah, prisoners. And those were some pretty cool fights. And it was basically, if we win 3, we go on. If you win 3, you move on. Or if we win 3, you don't move on, and yada 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 stuff.
What it is if the protagonists win, they can move on. But if the other opponents win, they get time reduced from their sentence.
Yeah, for each hour the prisoners waste for the contestants, they get a year taken off of their sentence. And so you have some cool stuff. I think the first one is some guy versus Tompa, and Tompa gives up.
Yeah, Tompa's
the next one you have
Gon with the candles.
That's right, yeah, Gon with the candle. That Gon is a fun protagonist so far.
That was just a funny moment where he's like, you have the shorter one, I have the longer one. How are you going to defeat me now? And Gon just kind of runs up and just, all right, I win.
I will say with Gon, at least so far from my perspective, while he definitely is a good character, I think a lot of him as like a main character comes from like his cast too. I don't doubt that Gon will have more footing for himself to stand on later. But it's kind of like early Luffy. Like, could he really stand on his own without Zoro and Nami? You know.
Yeah, that's completely fair.
And it just takes more. At least that's my perspective of it at this point in the series. I mean, I know there's going to be more development.
And we move on, and this is the moment I was talking about. This is the moment I really enjoy, where Kurapika gets in the ring with what's the guy's name? He's like all blue.
I can't remember the guy, and I don't see colors. I'm in black and white manga.
Oh yeah, in the anime he's colored blue, I think. And so what's interesting here is we get to learn more about how the Phantom Trope is viewed, at least by Kurapika. So the guy that walks up, he says, I am a member of the Phantom Trope. And he like shows off the tattoo and he's like, haha, I'm really cool. Which leads viewers to think like, oh yeah, the Phantom Trope, they're just like a thug gang. Kurapika then trounces his ass, almost kills him, and is like, you made a few mistakes here. You're not a real spider. A real spider would never show their back tattoo or like flaunt their power. They'd have just like flat out tried to kill me.
Yeah, and he was like, basically, you're a fake fan. Your shoes, whack. Your style, whack. His hair, whack. The way that he doesn't even like to smile, whack. Me, I'm tight as fuck.
Yeah, and then he beats him up because he's fake. He's faking being a spider, which it shows like it gives you a more interesting perspective onto like if that's someone who's just faking being a spider, who is somebody that's actually a Phantom Trope member? Like,
yeah, I was very glad that he wasn't an actual one, because if he was, it would have cheapened it a little bit. But keeping it like something that like, okay, people want to like pretend to be these guys. Like,
yeah,
they seem legit. They seem legit.
Yeah, and then Leorio's gambling with time comes up with the next chick.
Yeah, because he goes down and Kurapika doesn't kill him, and so he starts gambling. That was so cool. That was big Leorio moment. That's so true.
Yeah, that was so good. Where it's like, is he alive or not? And then they took the wager, and he's like, oh, if he's, I was like, how are you gonna tell he's alive? I'll just kick him off the platform, and if he doesn't get up.
Did he kick him in the anime? He threatened to throw him off in the manga.
or whatever it was. Or like he's like holding him over the pit or whatever. I just know like either if he's knocked off and doesn't get up, then they'll deem like he's dead. But if he moves before he gets knocked off, he's alive.
Yeah, and then there's the chick and they're betting and Leorio loses. Lol, rock, paper, scissors. I can appreciate that, how they let Leorio lose.
Yeah. And then they have to sit in a room for however many hours was it?
Well, there's so you have Leorio loses, and then you have Killua versus the like mass murderer guy, and Killua is just like, cool, I'm kind of tired of this, I'm heading out, and steals his heart and
interesting thing about
crushes it.
The thing in the anime is this is the moment where like my perspective on Hunter x Hunter changed, because I'd seen enough anime at that point, and they brought up this butcher guy. I was like, and the butcher guy, they gave the whole backstory of like he has 1,000 years, like 1,000-year life sentence. He's killed so many people. He's like super tough, and he's like, all right, let's go. And then in a second, Killua just yanks his heart and puts it in a doggy bag. And I was just very caught off guard watching it. I was like, oh my god, like they hyped this guy up so much, only to be taken out so quick. Wow.
Yeah, no, like okay, Killua was based. I already knew he was based, but I was like, okay. That's kind of the moment I stopped referring to him as the white-haired twink in my mind.
Yeah, and then I think they lost since I think he killed him. He wasn't supposed to. So
no, they won.
Didn't they have to sit in a room?
Yeah, they did. It was the hours Leorio lost.
Oh, for that, yeah. Sorry.
It was the hours, yeah. So they won. They were able to pass through. It was the hours that Leorio lost. They had to sit in the room for 50 hours.
My bad.
After that, oh yeah, no, you're all good. And then they had to leave, and they got to the place where it was like there's two paths. One takes 45 hours at least to get through. The other one takes 3 minutes to get to the room. He's like he's like at least two have to go down the whatever path. He's like once there's two, the other three can go. And so then it's the dilemma of, okay, so only three of us can win here.
Yeah.
The other two just don't have a chance.
And what did
And
they
so
do again?
the Oreo is like, there's a little back and forth and whatnot. And Gon's like, he's like, I'm passing. He's like, I'm gonna go the hard way. He's like, because we don't all pass. He's like, then I don't want to pass. And then we cut, and it's like, okay, they come out. What they ended up doing was the two that went through the hard way used up the last bit of time to break through the wall to the easy way, and they all went through the easy way. I was like, dude, that's genius.
Tunneled through. I remember that
Yeah, no, that was super cool. That was super clutch too.
moment. And then that's the fighting, right? Like they have the reverse tournament arc. Which
Drinking
once
water
again,
real quick. No, it's
What?
not the reverse tournament arc. After that is the island.
oh shit! How could I forget?
How'd you forget the island, bro?
Again? I don't know why I got them mixed up. Yeah, it's sorry, Kyle here. It's been like 2-3 years since I've seen the full anime.
I completely understand. But yeah, no, the island arc, that's solid. Each person gets a target and the yada yada yada. If you're at this point into the video, it's been like 45 minutes. You know enough about Hunter x Hunter that I don't need to explain the rules.
Yeah. I love that. It's like everyone has a target and everyone has a target on their back. And you have to get other targets too? Like, or at least you have to at least get your own.
Yeah, so you have your own, that's worth 3 points. If you get your target's card, that's worth 3 points. Any other card than that is just worth 1 point. And so it's basically just a battle royale. And there's some good moments.
Yeah, no, like one of the moments I enjoyed a lot. This was the moment that like really stood out to me from just everything so far. When Gon was practicing with the fishing rod, because Gon's target was Hisoka, and that was that one was very interesting to see, because when I first watched it, I was like, how the hell is he gonna get it from Hisoka? Like, there's no way.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, uh-oh.
Like, how is that gonna work? You know, Killua gets his very easily. He fought the three brothers, air quotes. He beat up the three brothers. He bullied on them. I think Kurapika Leorio's got theirs at some point, but later.
And Leorio's, those were later at the end of Snake Cave.
Oh yeah, Snake Cave. But for Gon practiced throwing Gon has a fishing rod as his weapon early on.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's a weapon you don't really see much, and he practiced it back and forth, practicing it, and at the critical moment, he goes to like follow Hisoka, and he finds him. And Hisoka, I forget why Hisoka was so like depraved. What happened?
Because you're talking about why he was depraved, like fighting the guy when Gon stole his thing. Because he came across Leorio and Kurapika after they got their things, and they were like, look, right? They were like, we'll let you have this one. It's 1 point for you. Like, if you just leave us on our way, right? We'll let you have this one. We don't really care. We're looking for whatever.
He really wanted to kill someone in that
He
moment.
really wanted to kill him. He was like, I'm itching. He's like, and Gon was like, okay, he's gonna fight whoever he meets next. And sure enough, and that gave Gon just the opening he needed.
Yeah, in the anime, it's such a good moment. Like, Hisoka goes fucking ballistic, chasing this guy down, and Gon waits for like the critical second where he's just going to strike that guy, and he uses the fishing rod with the little hooks on it and just snags his badge. And I was so happy for Gon, and I was immediately sad when that guy tackled him. Was like, look, I sat there watching you throw this thing for like 777 throws. I had 777 attempts to kill you, but I didn't. You were too focused on something else, and you were just careless. And then Hisoka breasted on that guy and helped out Gon.
Dead breast on that guy. I would say this is something I want to say about Hunter x Hunter. I can appreciate how they kill people. I can appreciate that.
Oh yeah, like
there are some real stakes in the series.
Yeah,
you know, it's like Hisoka's he's just evil.
Because
he's just an evil guy.
Stakes aren't simply to win or to survive. It is to win and to survive.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, Hisoka, like, people like Hisoka. I do, but you know, it doesn't fix the fact that he's a murderer.
Yeah, it happens. But yeah, no, and then we get the moment where Hisoka gives Gon's tag back to him, and Hisoka, his own tag. He does give his own tag back to him, right? He gives him the 44 tag that he got.
What he does is, like, at the moment, this will come up later in a moment I really love, but what happens is Hisoka's like, here, you got the badge from me. I'll only let you give it back to me once you're strong enough to.
And he punches him. He's like, once you can do that, then you can give it back. And I really like that. It's a good character moment for Gon. Because later he's like, he's shorting up about it a bit, and I always really appreciate that.
Yeah,
I can appreciate a main character failing. Isn't that nifty, Kyle?
Yeah, isn't that a crazy idea?
Isn't that a crazy idea?
Because Gon makes so many mistakes along the way. Like, even what the guy said of, you were too focused on getting what you wanted that you weren't even protecting yourself.
Yeah, and what you call it, and this is kind of off topic. I also appreciated how at the beginning of the arc, Gon and Killua showed each other their target cards. It's just the little things that show like, okay, no, these are two they're friends. You know, they're
and then at the end in the snake cave too. That's where the other ones get their badges.
Mm-hmm. And you know, Oreo and Kurapika coming back. I always enjoy them. And so it was fun to see Oreo be like, guys, gotta get my thingy. And so they track down how did they? Oh, that's right. They use Gon, who can smell really well, and they track down the chick.
Yeah, and then they go into the cave. There's like poison that's set off in there, and then Gon holds his breath and carries everyone out. It's
the snakes, and there's the guy there, and she's like, "Yeah, I killed him accidentally," and her power is bees.
Gon did not have to save that girl. Gon, if I remember, he states like he could have just left her in there, but he only saved her just so like she could owe him something in the future. That's all it was for.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly his reasoning other than he promised to bring her back out, and he did. And he also, of course, he took her little card from her to give to Oreo so he could win.
Yeah, because he said like that was payment for it.
Yeah.
That was payment.
And so it's just I enjoyed the arc. It was a cool little Gon moment.
I am trying to sow the seeds that I'm just trying to show the subtleties of like Gon isn't an incredibly nice person. Because one thing that I hate is whenever people just try to. They'll do I know I do it for some anime too, but I recognize when it happens. There are a lot of people that tend to generalize anime, and one of the generalizations of Hunter x Hunter is that Gon is quote unquote boring, and he's just too much like a nice goody two shoe character. And it's like, for the people who say that, like this early on, that's still incorrect. That is very incorrect.
Yeah, no, he's not. We have to help her.
Gon is selfish. I'm just gonna throw it.
He's like, what you call it? He's like you do this. He's like, you set off the poison in here. He's like, I'm going to go. He's like, I'm going to help my friends out. He said, and I'll come back for you.
Yeah, he's only self-motivated, and
he wouldn't care about her. If
no,
it was the deal of I can get you out of here if you help me get my friends out of here.
Yeah, that's all it is. And Gon's a kid too, so factor that in. But Gon just doesn't really have a regard for other people unless it's to his own benefit. Even like this early on, I didn't realize that was something early on. But yeah, you can see the subtleties with that.
Then we get to the final little part of this arc.
Yeah, the reverse tournament. And that was such a cool idea because let me say this. The two arcs I dislike, or the two like trope of arcs. I'm not a huge fan of exam arcs, and I'm not a huge fan of tournament arcs. And guess what I really like from Hunter x Hunter?
The exam tournament arc.
Just because a lot of them just feel very typical by the books. You can see a fight play out and just know what's going to happen. But the reverse tournament is interesting because, as explained, only one person is going to be. If you end up winning the tournament, you are the loser, basically. Like that. That's
it took me a second to get it, and then once I got it, I was like, "Yo, okay, no, that's legit. I feel that."
Where you fight, and whoever gives up moves on to the next round. So like the loser moves up.
We'll also say I am so happy. Again, this is Hunter x Hunter, quote unquote, breaking the mold. I really thought, because I was looking at it, I was like, okay, well, Gon and Hisoka are going to keep losing, and they're going to face each other in the final round. No, Gon won in the first round. I was like, okay, this is legit. I don't have to sit here for 5 years.
And it was such a fun moment because it really shows, like, Gon's kind of depravity with resolve of, he's like, I don't care. Like, I'm not going to give up. You could rip off a limb, rip off, like any part of me. You could, like, stab me. I'm not going to forfeit from where I stand. You can do whatever you want. Do your worst. Then Han's like, you know what? I'm not gonna do it to a kid. I'm just gonna move on. Do it to the next guy.
Yeah. No, I like Hanzo. We don't get to see him too much, but what we get to see of him, I like him.
And
and what you call it? We have Gon. He's like you said, and he's like I want to see my dad. He's like I want to meet my dad. I can appreciate that as a goal.
Which also, here's the thing: with the reverse tournament, it quite literally does weed out the weakest because the strongest are going to win early on, and then it's just going to like. It's interesting because usually in tournaments the stronger ones move up, but in this one it's the weakest that move up, and if you win, that means you're technically the weakest. So
and even then, we don't really get to see it. And I thought that was really interesting how they pull Gon out and then they flash forward and it's over. And Gon is a hunter? Question mark.
And he is. And Brandon, would you like to explain why the tournament is called off?
Because Killua murders someone.
Yeah,
Typical
because
twink.
The thing that Brandon brought up earlier about Killua's brother, Illumi, Illumi shows up and is like, scares the shit out of Killua, like intimidates him. It's like, why are you here? Like, you shouldn't even bother becoming a hunter. Like, why are you even here? What's the point? Well, what are you doing here? You see that guy? Go kill that guy. Why are you even here? And then he does because he listens to his brother and he murders a guy and he's disqualified.
Yeah, and I will say, so this is from the perspective of someone who doesn't know what's going on. It's very interesting to like, is something going on with Killua? Is it like magic? Is it just like he feels like peer pressured? Is it like his brother giving him a beer and being like, all the cool kids are doing it, then he sips it and then he goes to jail? Alcohol is bad, kids, don't do it. Not saying alcohol is bad, like as in like it's illegal, saying like alcohol tastes bad. It's not worth it. You're going to ruin your life for bread water.
Brandon,
yeah.
Come back to Hunter.
I hate alcohol so much. I hate alcohol. I hate alcohol.
But no, I know what you mean. I'm not going to say what it is, but it leaves off on a very interesting note of why did Killua do that?
Yeah, and you know why? Because from my perspective, as far as I know, Killua is a good guy. So why is he just randomly murdering people?
Also, did Illumi meet with someone?
He talked to Hisoka in the island.
Yeah, that's what.
So there's some connection there, but obviously I don't know what. That's when we learn that Cactus Jack is actually a twink.
Illumi, yeah. And that's a very interesting place to leave off. So you got done with the first arc.
I will say there's one last thing I want to mention, and this was an interesting line. It was a line. It was the old dude who looks like he's named Sebastian or something. I can't remember his actual name. I appreciated how he was he like congratulated Gon. He was like congratulations, and that was really cool. I really liked that. But he said how he was like at the end he's like I almost told him the test wasn't over. I was like, is the test not over? I was like, I thought these guys were hunters now. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to see.
Oh yeah. And then didn't Sebastian die?
The butler guy?
Oh, the butler? Oh, I thought Sebastian was the person that Killua killed.
No. I was saying like the that his name started with like a B or something. I was saying like the running guy from the first thing from the tunnel.
Oh yeah,
where he was with Gon whenever Gon woke up, and he was like, "Congratulations, Gon," and all that. And Gon showed him. Oh yeah, this was another thing where he showed him the double hunter card that I guess Kite dropped or something.
Yeah,
and it was like, but that's Jing's card. So like that's the question in my mind of, is Kite Jing or like what's going on there? I guess I will find out. I don't know. Maybe Jing will be the haha funny Shanks chapter 1. Man, can't wait to see Shanks fight. Chapter 1053. Man, can't wait to see Shanks fight. I don't know. It's interesting. And the whole is the test over? I don't know. I guess I'll find out. I thought he was a hunter now.
But yeah, that was the first arc of Hunter x Hunter, and I will say, I think it is a rather strong start to the series. I think a lot of first arcs, it's one of those where people have the mindset of, I'll give the first season a chance, and if it's interesting in season 2, I'll watch it further. Like, no, the first arc just starts out really strong.
No, yeah, totally, and especially comparing it to its contemporaries. I mean, let's look at the first arc of Black Clover. It's just recent on my mind. It's the wizard exam arc, and the hunter exam is so much better than that. And even looking at the first arc of One Piece, not counting Romance Dawn, I'm not counting Romance Dawn as the first arc of One Piece. It is a chapter. It is not an arc. The first arc, which is Port Town, I think it's called, is where he meets Zoro and Captain Morgan and all that. Hunter exam is a lot better than that. It's a lot better than that. Better than Orange Town. Looking at other stuff, Jujutsu Kaisen, the first arc of that is Megumi and Itadori's or Yuji's little fight in the schoolhouse where Yuji eats Sukuna's finger. And Hunter exam is a lot better than that. And also, Hunter exam is a longer first arc, but it definitely benefits from that. It is extremely solid. Like, while I can't read it and be like, oh, this is going to be the best series ever, or oh, this is one of my favorite manga of all time, I'm very much looking forward to reading more. It shows signs that like this could be brilliant, right?
Yeah.
And given from, I think a lot of people find it brilliant, and I mean, to say I expect to, I try not to expect anything from manga anymore after Attack on Titan, but I almost expect to be like, okay, I am very much looking forward to the legendary Chimera Ant arc.
Yeah.
To finally be able to reference it as much as we reference Shibuya in comparison to things.
And I would say the Hunter exam arc is probably one of the better starting arcs of a shonen for the reasons we talked about. Like it has intrigue, it has good writing, it has twists that keep the reader interested. It's longer. It shows just how brutal it is to become a hunter. Because think about it like this: in a lot of these other things that we've talked about, how easy is it to become one of the trademark fighters in their world?
It's just kind of base.
It's rather easy to do so, and even like some people will fail it. Like I'm not going to reference anything. Like in a lot of them, it is easy to fail it. But think of stuff like One Piece, where anyone can become a pirate. There's differences in what makes a good or bad pirate, but anyone can take on that label. Not everyone in Hunter x Hunter. I'd say hunters are probably one of the hardest things to become in a shonen. At least one of them.
I mean, what? And I don't know exactly what hunters are, but no, I mean the exam was. I mean it was a super solid arc. I'm very much looking forward to reading more. I appreciate. I always enjoy character stuff, and I enjoyed how it set up the characters really, and it's just.
Other than the mansion, I'm pretty sure that after that we are moving on to Heaven's Arena. I think that's what it's called.
Heaven's
and Heaven's Arena is a phenomenal arc, and we'll talk about next time. In the next episode, we'll talk about the stuff that happens with the Zoldyck family, and then we will talk about Heaven's Arena.
Yeah. So if you're still watching, thank you for sitting through an hour of us discussing the first arc of Hunter x Hunter. If you enjoyed this type of content, I'm going to shamelessly plug my own channel where I review manga and light novels that I read. And Kyle will be on that some? ? Yes, he definitely will, because we don't have spots in the schedule for everything Kyle and I want to do with book club. So
yeah,
we will definitely be doing some over there. So if you enjoyed this content, definitely check that out. I'll put a link in the description. And don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, kiss Kate on the lips, give Trevor some hot sauce, and we will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.